So we have this video from Glare00. I haven't actually seen any of their videos at all. Again, they've got 1.65k subscribers, and this video is doing pretty decently, 1.6k views, and also 78 likes and 0 dislikes, which is a first. I think out of a lot of the videos that we've watched on this channel, I think that, yeah, this is the first time I haven't seen a single dislike. So maybe this guy is pretty based. And the video is called, "Is FOMO really present in Wuthering Waves?" Obviously, as you may know, FOMO is a, the term means fear of missing out, which means that, yeah, it's a pretty big thing in gacha games, because obviously there's a lot of characters and they, market them as unmissable or meta or something like that. So we're going to see, does this actually exist in Wuthering Waves or not? Let's get into it.
A lot of players get scared of when playing gacha games. And I can say that for myself as well. I played Honkai Impact 3rd after a 2 to 3 month break.
Oh my god.
Realizing that I missed a lot.
I'm sorry that you played Honkai Impact 3rd.
A lot of important events really made me not play the game anymore. Say friendship. I played it for about 1 month after returning, and again realizing that I missed so much that I couldn't really keep up with the game anymore. And so I asked myself this question when playing Wuthering Waves, since it's the only gacha game I'm currently playing right now, and it's FOMO.
Oh damn, okay. So this guy is only playing Wuthering Waves. He isn't playing any other gacha. Obviously, as they said, they've been playing Honkai Impact 3rd and also Genshin, but only Genshin for a month, which is actually quite surprising, because usually a lot of people that make videos on Wuthering Waves, etc., it seems like they do make a lot of videos on Wuthering Waves. You usually have quite a big, rapport in gacha games. They've played quite a few of them. They've been through the whole thing. They've done this, they've done that. Yeah, it is kind of surprising to see someone in the gacha sphere that is doing something that isn't just, gacha games. Like, they play other games as well, and they don't play that many gacha games. So it will be interesting to see, is FOMO really present? Do they, what do they have?
So, how Kuro was able to mitigate it. And so this video is meant to understand if Wuthering Waves truly has FOMO right now, or if it will have in the near future. This video is only meant to spark discussion, since this is coming from only my thoughts alone and not really going deep into research.
As a serial yapper in the gacha sphere, and everyone hates it, I definitely, encourage people to yap more, because it is quite fun just kind of talking about different things in the community. We reacted to a video last stream, or I think it was a stream before, of Chroma talking about, is gacha content creation dying? And that seemed like it kind of came across like a lot in his head, He was just thinking up a lot of points, and like it was just based off of observations, rather than, a lot of my content on my main channel and stuff, I cover a lot of stuff to do with news, and stuff to do with like overall facts and stuff that goes on. And yeah, like I kind of just cover all of that kind of stuff, which again can kind of be boring to some people because they don't really care about what's going on in the news. But I think a lot of this content where it's like they actually think up of an idea that isn't actually just like straight up giving you whatever you want to know, and instead thinking about a thought. I think these videos are really, really good, and it's good to see a lot more people getting into it.
So please take it with a grain of salt. But anyway, enjoy the video. So ever since Wuthering Waves came out, I always felt like FOMO is sort of present. What I mean by that is that Wuthering Waves, at the end of the day, is a gacha game. And so there has to be some form of FOMO element to it.
I definitely think that's true, obviously, because there's this whole like kind of character dynamic going on. There's banners, so obviously people are going to have a fear of missing out on characters, especially if they want that character. Now, a company can, kind of buy into that. Obviously, Honkai Star is an example of a game that really buys into a lot of stuff to do with FOMO, because again, they're kind of telling you it's meta. They're telling you, you need to pull this character, else you're not going to be able to beat Pure Fiction easy, or, you have to get this character for this. And, a lot of people do get very worried that, I'm going to miss out on this character if I don't swipe, or if I don't do this, which again, I don't think is a very good way to kind of make a gacha game. But at the same time, I can see why they do it, because it is a gacha game. They want to make money. They want to kind of get people to buy these characters. But I think with Wuthering Waves is a little bit less of that. And I think it's more just the fear of missing out element is just based on, people want that character because it's based on that character, not because it's going to be good in Tower of Adversity or something like that. Now, obviously, there are factors as well, which is like, oh, they're the best DPS, or they're the best this, which people will want to, pull on. But I don't think the kind of stigma of like the fear of missing out element of it is there as much as, something like Honkai Star, where you've actually got to defeat a lot more endgame stuff. But maybe this might actually change in the future as well, because again, Tower of Adversity is like one of the main kind of endgame things at the moment. And we've also got, I forgot what the other one's called. But again, we have a couple of them but nothing like as solid as maybe Pure Fiction and Memory of Chaos is, and some of the other stuff that's going on in Honkai. So yeah, it is very interesting to actually compare the two games. As a professional gacha player, I have grass phobia. Yeah, true.
Events coming in and out, different kinds of rewards that only players that were able to participate can get, and obviously releasing limited 5-star characters for free, such as Shangli Yao, can make people feel a little bit guilty for not participating earlier. But I think Kuro is trying to mitigate that as much as possible. And
I want Gion, I fear to miss Camellia. Yeah, exactly. I think that's kind of sums up how like this game does still have a bit of a fear of missing out element, because you do want to pull these characters, because again, yeah, I want to pull Camellia too, and I don't want to miss her out on that. So I have been saving up a lot of my pulls and stuff so that I can get her in the future. But I think, I think the kind of consequences of it is a lot less than a lot of other gacha games.
I will give you guys a bunch of reasons as to how Kuro was able to do that. And the main reason is that all characters are actually viable. This is something that a lot of gacha games sort of suffer from, and it's that once a really strong character is past its banner, a lot of newer players feel extremely behind in terms of their account progression compared to old.
I think that is true. I think that a lot of characters are viable in Wuthering Waves. Obviously, recently we've had Verena and the Shorekeeper, and you can actually use both of these characters, and they both work very, very well. And I think with the, stuff added with the 5-star character, like selector stuff, and getting Verena on that, I think it's kind of removed a lot of that element of, like, missing out, because people are like, oh, it's fine. I can just get this free character that will do pretty much exactly the same. Maybe a little bit worse, maybe a little bit better. I don't know what people are really arguing on, like, how good they are compared to each other. But again, you're still not missing out that much, which means someone might not be as inclined to pull someone like the Shorekeeper just because they've got Verena, or the other way around. They might not be inclined to, keep pulling on the standard banner because they've already got Shorekeeper and don't need Verena. But again, there's always these characters that can be constantly used in the game, as like Changli and Yinlin, as they're using there. Again, is a good example. In my game, I use Changli and Jinshi, which I think is a pretty good, combo. I like both the characters. I don't know if they work well together. Like, honestly, I don't really look into Wuthering Waves team builds or team compositions or anything like that. But I definitely do think that, I use that kind of character set, but I could also use Yinlin instead of Jinshi, or even I could use Yinlin instead of Changli. Like, I think it's really easy to swap a lot of these characters. And even with a lot of the free ones we've been getting recently, obviously Zhangli Yao came out pretty recently. He's a pretty DPS heavy character. He could also go in there instead of one of these characters, which I think is what makes it really, really great for Wuthering Waves at the moment, because you can use pretty much any characters together, even the free ones, and even the ones that maybe, aren't as good, but still do a very, very decent amount of damage, because, again, all the characters are pretty decent. And I think in the future, with Wuthering Waves releasing more characters, maybe that will change, because, there's going to be different kind of metas and stuff, like maybe a team with, like, Shorekeeper, Camellia, and something else will work better than a team with something else. But we'll have to wait and see what kind of Kuro games do with that. Kazuhano, what game would you reincarnate into? I don't really know. I don't really want to think about
older
that.
Players who started the game at launch. But I think Kuro was able to mitigate that by releasing strong characters, or even having really strong characters that are hard to power creep. Let's take an example of Verena. I think Verena is the best example of a great anti-FOMO character. She's the best character in the game by far, being played in literally every single team in the game. But also she is available in the standard banner where everyone can be able to access her. Even with the release of Shorekeeper, she was always able to be extremely useful in every situation. I think even more than Shorekeeper in most aspects. And I think Kuro has done a great job in doing that, releasing really good characters at the start of the
I definitely think there is this whole thing with Kuro games and Wuthering Waves at the moment where, like, a character isn't, like, particularly super better than another, And I think that's what I'm trying to get at here. That's why people don't have as much FOMO, because people are like, oh, well, I've always got this other character which can do just as much damage, and I got them for free. As I was saying, Zhangli Yao is an extremely powerful character, so even if you do miss out on a DPS character or something, maybe you're kind of appealed by them because, they look nice, or they have some cool abilities that look cool, but in terms of damage and stuff, you're really not at a disadvantage, because a lot of the characters have a similar damage output, similar healing output, similar kind of, supporting output, which I think is great. Maybe that will change in the future, as I said, with Kuro games, like adjusting some stuff, kind of tinkering with a couple of the characters. But again, so far it seems like a lot of the characters are very equal, which yeah, kind of reduces that kind of FOMO feeling.
The game, which allowed a lot of newer players to get and be able to catch up. In terms of DPS characters, a lot of people can say Rover is an extremely great pick that can boost your account significantly. Not only are they F2P, but also FOMO proof, where he is almost viable in every element. And obviously,
yeah, that was a really good thing as well that happened kind of early on in the game. As we've seen with like Genshin Impact, I don't think anybody really uses Aether or Lamine or whatever. So it was really nice to see Rover actually being a character that you could use, and they were good and they were viable, and you can pretty much use them in any kind of team, which is great to see. Now, obviously, we've seen it with other kind of similar games. You know, Honkai Star Rail, they've actually kind of managed to build on their MC. Now, I don't think people use Preservation MC that much, or the other one, but definitely the newest one, the Imaginary MC, I definitely think they've really coped with that, and it allows people to use like a character that they've already got in a kind of like meta team comp, which is great to see. And yeah, the Rover is just a similar character to that.
The list can go on and on about other characters, but I think these two are the best. Because Rover is not only really, really good, but also, again, really easy to access and really easy to get.
Yeah, you get them at the start.
And he does a lot of damage for no reason. But what if you really want these specific limited characters that are no longer available right now? Such as Yunlin, Jian, Changli, or Zhenqi. Well, rerun are always available in gacha games, but it doesn't really solve the issue, since rerun might not happen until months after release, which could prove to be bothersome for some players. That's why I think that FOMO...
I don't think Rover will fall off anytime soon, because Kuro is making sure that he doesn't. Yeah, exactly. I think with the releases of newer versions and newer kind of element styles, as you know, we've been kind of like getting different versions of him. I think that will definitely help to keep him kind of relevant, especially in a lot of teams, because you can keep switching between them, or she. Obviously, you know, it depends which Rover you're using. So like, I definitely think with reruns and stuff, they've been a lot slower recently with a lot of the reruns. As you know, I think it's like tomorrow, the Gion rerun's coming out, or like in a couple of days. And a lot of people are being like, oh, the updates are really slow. I wish, like, you know, there was more characters and that they released a 5-star every single patch. Now, as much as I do wish that kind of happened, like, again, I really like having a lot of 5-stars out, and it's really nice to see a lot of these characters. I think it does give a lot of people time to kind of pull on these characters, and helps a lot of free-to-play players to kind of, you know, get the ones that they want. And especially with the rerun stuff kind of happening in between, because if you don't want like Gion or something, you could just take a break. You know, you can take a break, kind of build up your Astrite, and then pull on the next character, which helps out them. Or say if you're someone that missed out on Gion in the earlier banners, then you can actually save up your Astrite and then pull for him later on, which again is great. And I think that having these patches where you're not kind of torn between the decision of, should I get the new 5-star or should I get the rerun, is actually a pretty decent move for now. Now, I think this is going to change in the future, and they're actually waiting until the PlayStation version comes out, because again, they don't want people to miss out on all of these new characters on PlayStation. So I think once the PlayStation version comes out, we might actually see a change in how the banners are done. We might be seeing a 5-star every single patch. Again, that's not confirmed or anything. They haven't said anything about that. But to be fair, it does seem a little bit slow at the moment, so hopefully we will see something kind of change like that in the future. I don't really know.
Months after release, which could prove to be bothersome for some players. That's why I think that FOMO is still present in the game, but, you know, sort of present, since a lot of great characters are always available for you to get. But if you want specific characters, then it's going to be harder for you to, you know, to wait for these characters to come out. Again, the idea of power creep can also be talked about with FOMO, since these characters might get overshadowed by others, but this can be talked about in another video, or you can speak your thoughts in the comments down below if you want to. The other reason how Kuro is able to mitigate FOMO is through double drop rerun, and this is something that a lot of gacha games don't do at all for some reason. And I think this is the best way to get players hooked into a gacha game where grinding for resources is essential, and where they can't fear on missing out.
Yeah, I think like a lot of gacha games, they make you take forever whenever it comes to farming all the materials. Now, not only does Wuthering Waves have these double drop events where you can actually get some of these materials and like kind of build up to them early, so it's good, you know, you can actually get enough materials so you don't have to spend much time running around the world trying to find like one flower or something like you do in a lot of these other gacha games. Whereas with Wuthering Waves, they have these double drops events, but also the actual like leveling up kind of requirements are really low. Like, you don't actually need that many materials to level up a character. Now, a lot of us, you know, we've come over from Genshin, we've come over from Honkai, we've come over from all of these other games where they make you, farm so much material, and you still are kind of in that mindset of, damn, I need to collect so many stuff, like so much stuff for one of these characters. When in actual fact, you don't need to, but it just kind of seems that way because you've been, I don't know, you've been kind of taught, that it should take a long time. Whereas with Wuthering Waves, they're just like, hey, man, you can just do it in a day if you want. It's only the shell credits that are expensive. Yeah, I think shell credits, they are trying to improve on that because of a lot of the, we had some events and also some free shell credits in the mail. So I think Kuro Games are aware that shell credits are becoming a little bit of an issue whenever it comes to upgrading this stuff. So maybe they'll add some more ways to get shell credits in the future. Obviously, the only ways you can do it at the moment is by farming them or just by, running around the world, open up chests and stuff like that. So maybe that'll change. I don't know.
Out on big rewards. Basically, what Kuro does is in every phase of an update, they release a double drop event where players can just grind for their needed resources and get double drops out of it. There isn't any exclusive resource like crowns and Genshin where you need to participate in a specific event to boost your characters even more, which is great. But releasing double drops event in every patch is the best way to deal with FOMO in gacha games, in my opinion. And
yeah, it definitely allows a lot of people to catch up as well to a lot of the stuff. Because again, there could be people that take a break, and I've said this a lot of times, like a lot of people didn't enjoy the early story of Wuthering Waves, and maybe they came back for something like the Black Shores, and maybe pulled in the shorekeeper, let's say. And obviously, after they pulled in the shorekeeper, well, they haven't been playing the game much, so they probably won't have much materials, but then they have these events, which kind of allow you to get these materials to actually build this character quickly, rather than like potentially losing a player, because some players will come back to the game, as I said, in these other gacha games, and then just kind of go, oh, I don't have enough materials. Okay, well maybe I'll come back to it in like a week or so, and then never return to the game, and then that cycle kind of repeats. Whereas this, it keeps people kind of engaged in the game, they can get back into it quickly, and then they can keep playing the game, which is what Kuro Games want, Any games company wants the person to keep playing the game, even after these banners have come out.
I think Kuro is doing a great job about it. Not only it can help returning players catch up to their grind, but also give newer players an edge to be able to complete and level up their favorite characters so they can catch up to everything that Kuro has offered them in this patch. I think this amount of consideration that this gacha game company gives is crazy and should be addressed since, a lot of people don't give it as much credit. Not only that, but they also give out something called
it's the typical Kuro Games listen, devs listen statement. They do listen, like a lot more than, a lot of gacha games. I know it's a running joke, and I say it literally in every single video, but they do. Like, it's kind of obvious. Kuro Games know what their players want. They know how to make them happy, and they do it. Whereas a lot of these other kind of, companies, not just Hoyoverse, so there's many out there, like, I don't want to like kind of target them or anything like that. Kuro Games is one of the main companies that actually listen to their audience, and it's great to see them kind of adding stuff like this to the game.
Wuthering Exploration, where they grant players really high rewards by doing very easy.
And again, we were talking about shell credits earlier. That's one of the ways that they improved, adding shell credits into the game. Giving players more shell credits is by doing the Wuthering Explorations event, because as you can see, if you get 140 of these, you get 1 million. Oh, it's kind of behind my head there, but like, you get 1 million shell credits just for exploring the world, which I think is absolutely amazing. And it's, shows that they're thinking about, oh crap, some of the players might not be able to get enough shell credits, or some of the players are complaining about shell credits, and then they just go ahead and fix it like straight away. And it's, good to see that they aren't just waiting until like some other update, which we see again with a lot of other gacha games, but they're just going, okay, we'll just throw in an event just like straight into an update when we're only in version 1.3.
Tasks like finishing your dailies or raiding farmable bosses. I was able to finish this and managed to get Whispering Cores so I can level up my characters. I was actually about to run out since I haven't had the time to explore and fight mobs around the area, and so the fact that Kuro did that, it really helped me. Again, this shows that even though FOMO is still a thing in gacha games, Kuro really tries to lower it as much as possible as they can make sure their players, new or old.
Yeah, I definitely think that Kuro Games does have the lowest kind of FOMO out of a lot of the other gacha game companies, I think they do try to make it, the least FOMO is, I don't really know how to say it, but like, they try to not add as much FOMO as some of the other games, and I definitely think that is a good thing, because it means a lot of people have a positive view of this game, whereas a lot of other games, people don't like it as much because they know it's predatory, they know that, they want you to be, kind of thinking, I'm missing out on this. Whereas Wuthering Waves is like, yo, we're here if you want to play or not. Like, you know, you can easily get back into the game if you want. And I think that's why a lot of people really like this game too. Not just because, you know, the gameplay itself and the community around it and whatever. It's also, you know, just how easy it is to get back into it and how, like, you know, less FOMO-y it is compared to a lot of the other games.
Can be able to experience the game to its fullest and catch up to all the content that Crew was able to offer. So thank you guys so much for watching this video.
Damn.
If you find it relatable or, you know, you liked it.
Yeah, that was a very, very interesting video to talk about. Again, definitely go follow Glare. That was a very good video. I can definitely see why it got no dislikes now because, again, a lot of the stuff they were spitting was based. Now, I'm going to leave a link down in the chat there, so go like and subscribe to him. And it will also be down in the description of the video if you're watching it on YouTube or whatever. And if you're watching on YouTube, come over to Twitch because, you know, we do a lot of this stuff. We got so many more videos to go through, so yeah.